All right. As you heard at the end of the Sportsnet Central update I just did, as we welcome in Chris Forsberg, we still have Kayla Burton here. Tom Thibodeau out as the head coach of the New York Knicks. So we're going to play a little game, guys, and our first game time is gut reaction. So Forsberg, first time on the show today, your gut reaction to Tom Thibodeau getting let go by the New York Knicks. Shaking your head.
I don't understand the timing. Like, if they got bounced in rounds 1 or 2, I fully expected this sort of move. But to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, was it his fault that Cat can't play defense? Can't defend a high pick and roll? Maybe it is. But I just don't like that it falls back on Tom Thibodeau. This usually means there's another coach out there that they want. And so maybe it's Mike Malone. I have all those Villanova guys. Are we sure Jay Wright's not coming back? Like, it just it makes you start thinking about what is the plan B that seems sexier to the New York Knicks, and it just kind of sucks.
Yeah, gut reaction. I mean, mine was wow, just blatant wow. I mean, you see the graphic right there and the bullet point. For the first time in 25 years, the Knicks get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and yes, it did. I was surprised that they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, that was like, you know, for a team that lost 4 straight times to the Celtics, and I know we can go on down a whole rabbit hole talking about the Celtics-Knicks series, but they still, like, you know, they fought and they really outplayed a number of teams to the end of the quarters. And who leads that? The head coach. So I just think that's a little shocking. The other statistic here: every NBA coach of the year from 2018 to 2023 fired Trenni.
Yeah, it's just shocking to me. This one surprises me only because you beat the defending champions, and then you lost to a team that some people picked as a dark horse to go to the NBA Finals. People really liked the Indiana Pacers, even in the offseason. They weren't a sexy pick, but they were there as a team that people were talking about. And also, Chris, it just doesn't... I don't know. Like, to me, aren't you looking at roster construction more than anything else? Like, in the story we had during the SNC update, everything that Thibodeau did was raise the level of play in New York. I know he didn't win a championship, but also you don't win championships overnight. You just turn the roster over. What do you think? Mike Malone's going to come in and wave some magic wand and suddenly you're going to win it all? I guess maybe. But I also, Chris, you know, the adjustments that Tibbs made in the Eastern Conference semifinals, if we're being honest, were better than the adjustments that Joe Mazzulla made in game. He found ways to neutralize and really, and obviously end the Celtics run. I'm just surprised that this is the direction the Knicks are going, unless maybe there's a personality conflict there too, things behind the scenes, like what happened, you know, in Denver.
And honestly, I just think it comes down to whoever they feel like is maybe next in line that they can go get is maybe going to have an ability to go get a superstar player, or maybe they're going to plan a move that coach melds well with. So I don't know. It's unfortunate. I don't love it. I think coaches know when they sign up for this job, it's pretty heartless and things like this happen. But you gave Tibbs all that time and then you just pull the rug like this. It just doesn't seem right.
Certainly puts everybody on notice. Meanwhile, Brian Robb of Mass Live writing an article detailing 7 potential trades for Kristaps Porzingis. One of which, I knew it. There you hear Chris Forsberg in the background because you know,
Chris, did you make a call?
That this one makes him happy. This deal, suggested by Brian Robb, would send Kristaps Porzingis to Portland in exchange for Robert Williams and Matisse Thybulle. It would save the Celtics nearly $6 million. They would get 2 expiring contracts back. So, Chris, I know which way you're going to go with this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you buying or selling a reunion with Robert Williams?
I'm torn, Trenni. You're asking me to pick my favorite child. I know this sounds easy, and as much as I love Rob, I also love Kristaps, and I do hope that Kristaps is able to find better health than what we saw at the end of last season. So I'm willing to make that deal if you don't feel that Kristaps is going to get back to the high level, or if next year you're just truly looking at the long-term view and you'd rather get Rob in here and try to figure out if he could be a long-term piece for you. But if you're trying to keep this core together, if you think you can contend, the highest ceiling for your team is to get Kristaps back to playing well. And I do hope he finds that level. I hope that over the summer when he goes over to play with Latvia, he looks a lot more like the guy we saw in the championship season than the guy we saw at the end of this one.
Yeah, I don't mind this trade. I think that it could go 50-50, but I'm kind of on the side of let's see KP given one more shot, because the past 2 playoff outings, he was not able to finish, or it was partially in, partially out. And then this past one, obviously just feeling really ill, and no one really knew what the heck was going on until afterwards. So I do think, hey, KP, go get your health. You're with this core that he's also just a lover of Boston. Boston loves this guy, and you need a rah-rah guy like that. But health is important and execution is important down the stretch in the playoffs. And so I say, let's be patient, maybe not make that trade just yet. And Chris, for you to even kind of backtrack and not go full in on Time Lord, I think justifies that Kristaps Porzingis. It means a lot here to Boston and for them to win.
You guys are both wrong. You just have
You're just done.
I mean, I don't know if it's this deal in particular, but you have to move on. The best ability is availability, and Kristaps Porzingis isn't available.
Gone.
And that was a question that we had about him when we came here. Like, I love the guy. I love watching him play when he's out there. He's a rah-rah guy. He's a unicorn player. But the fact of the matter is he has not lived up to that mystique that has sort of been built around him. Unfortunately, I think they're going to have to move on. Well, regardless of a Kristaps Porzingis trade, we could see a drastically different front court on the Celtics. So, Kayla, fill in the blank. The Celtics front court will consist of blank next season.
Will consist of...
Oh, yeah, happy birthday, Al Horford. He's 39
Can we
today.
say the front court will consist of Al Horford? Next season, can we say that?
Yeah, that you absolutely can. This is your fill in the blank. You can say whatever you'd like.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to pick the guy in the photo because happy birthday, Al Horford, 39 years old and still diving after basketballs and, really just knocking everyone else out with the talk of, oh, he's old, he's old. He was still playing down the stretch, and he was a big part of that, getting the rebounds, getting the awards. So, Chris, I'm just going to shout out Al here on his birthday today.
Nice. I don't mind going that route. Look, I don't know beyond Robert Williams who will be in the front court next season, but I do believe that it's all going to hinge. It is one of the bigger mysteries, right? Because they have to kind of figure out what direction they go in, and then you'll know, can you afford to bring back an Al Horford? Can you afford to bring back Luke Cornett? And so, but I think the right word here is probably the Celtics front court will consist of different pieces next season. I think it's just going to look different, and it might have to go. You might have to be economical in how you build this thing out.
All right, guys. So the new CBA, you talked about economical. Certain teams are going to be better off than others. We'll see how well off the Celtics are next year. But, Chris, I want you to take your pick. If you were the Celtics, which team would you swap places with in the Eastern Conference?
So this is so tough for me because it's like, what version of the Celtics are we talking about? Is Jalen still here? Is Derek White still here? Like, I still have a good amount of faith in that team. But undeniably, I think one of the things I come away, especially as I look at the teams in the NBA Finals, is the Celtics probably got to get a little younger. They probably got to get a little bit more athletic out there, again, and then sometimes that just comes with being a younger team. And so when I do look at the teams like the Pacers, when I look at teams like the Detroit Pistons with a Cade Cunningham who was blossoming before our eyes, like I am a little bit jealous. And even the Magic with the Paolo, Franz, and probably a little bit more health next season. It's a little bit more daunting when you think those teams are coming for you, and the Celtics without Tatum are going to be in a tough spot. So if I had to trade places with a team because this is going to be, let's say, a down year, I'm going young.
You're going young?
What are you going with?
Pistons. I mean, only because, they are kind of that younger team. I mean, yeah, you can look at teams and you could say the Cavs because they were number one until they collapsed once again in the playoffs. But I just think when it comes to the future of this team, you want to go with the younger guys. You want to see a Malik Beasley come off the bench and do what he did. And, you want the Celtics to kind of have that, especially because the reality is the reality. Jason Tatum is not in the mix for a good portion of next season. So it does need to go a little younger. I still think keep the main thing, Chris. You wrote about it, the bridge, keep the core together. But if you can start to look towards some of those younger guys, why not? You're seeing Detroit do it with Cade. So maybe follow suit a little bit.
Can't believe none of you guys want to be the Indiana Pacers. Nobody ever likes the Midwest. But that is the team.
It's not as exciting. Like Pacers are all credit to them, and their defense is elite. But there's just something about them that's like, really, Pacers, OKC in this?
I know, but you know,
give him credit.
Tyrese Halliburton. We're going to talk about him a little bit later. Burt Breer loves some Tyrese Halliburton. All right, we're taking a look at some of the issues. Thank you, Chris Forsberg, facing the Celtics in our series called The Off Season. See what they did there? Wednesday at 4:00. Chris Forsberg, Drew Carter, and Kevin O'Connor are going to come up with some fake trade proposals that could help the team. You can scan the QR code on the screen or go to the NBC Sports Boston page on YouTube to watch that.